Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Today we're going to do a very special video because we're going to talk about Tantra. Our first video where we're going to talk about Tantra. What is Tantra and why they're saying in the internet that it's the path to happiness? Well, I totally agree. I totally agree that it's the path to human happiness. And let me explain why. First of all, we humans usually relate to ourselves by constructing a concept of ourselves that uses things from the exterior of what we are, like persons, concepts, situations, things, to which we identify with and help us construct the identity we have of ourselves. So we are pretty much depending on something else to be what we are. And that's definitely not being complete, not being centered upon ourselves, but upon everything else than ourselves. But how can one be complete by its own means? What does that mean? Is that even possible? Well, I can tell you it is. The dimension of pleasure, of what we want, of what we desire, of what makes us feel good in life. It's something that can strictly come from our own mechanisms if we are aware of them and we trigger them and we work them to really gain all that energy, to start feeling all that rejoice and bliss. But we have to work for it. If we don't pay attention to it, nothing will happen. But if we work for it and we commit humbly to it, it will happen and you will feel a huge orgasm in all your body, and not just your physical body. Because the idea of Tantra is that it unites all the bodies we have. I mean, we have a physical body, but we have other bodies that are ethereal and spiritual, that they're not that tangible, at least to the rest of the people. Maybe for us and in our own subjective experience, it is tangible. But it's difficult to relate these inner dimensions to other people. The truth is that all those inner dimensions are body. What I mean body, they are a limit form of body, like our physical body have 5 fingers in each hand. We say there's a limit dimension of that etherical body or spiritual body we have. So usually people relate to these dimensions of ourselves and says that there's different levels of it. But the idea is pretty simple. As we have 5 fingers in one hand and 5 fingers in the other, the same happens with the etherical and spiritual bodies. They are defined, there are a total amount of them. And that's very important for Tantra because, well, Tantra helps us connect all these dimensions and make a circuit out of it that unites everything and empowers the whole system to go even beyond in whatever sense the individual wants or is projecting in that moment. So Tantra basically is knowing and taking control of the mechanisms of our existence, of our life, to project our sexual energy. And this sexual energy is very important because it's the energy of creation and destruction. Usually in society, we don't like to relate to the energy of destruction and something difficult to handle. And even in society, you know, like the history of how we have been handling this, it's awkward. It's something like that's hot and I don't want to hold it, and we throw it to the next one so someone else grabs it and I don't know what to do with it and throws it. And that's how we've been living all this time, because we are living as a humans that are incomplete, finding completeness outside through identifying with people, situations, and all the things outside of in the world of Maya, the diversity of Maya outside. And well, we are part of it, right? But that will have to wait for a moment. First, we have to really separate the outside with this, with what we are, to understand what we are as a complete human being, because we have different mechanisms in ourselves. For example, the breathing, the heart rates, and other stuff, that if we take control of those, we start moving all this energy and projecting it in different ways. And the result is that we feel bliss, we feel rejoice. If we work our body through movement, through breathing, through repetition, through these patterns of movements and breathing, you will catapult yourself to this tantric dimension where you will encounter your root energy face to face. Your dragon, that's pretty much what the dragon means. That's why it's so violent and at the same time enlightening. The dragon is the representation of this energy. And through Tantra, we learn how to harvest all this energy of the dragon without being harmed. Because, well, the dragon not only goes outside to harm people outside, or the situations where it harms us. It's like the story of Shiva. When Shiva attacks outside and makes harm outside, it makes harm to himself and he stops himself. So when you attack outside, you attack yourself. And that's how all this works, and that's why Tantra is so powerful in all its dimensions, in the darkest ones and in the most enlightening ones. And it's a practice that one must be very careful. Our maximum potential is something that we must live, but carefully, because we can harm ourselves and the people around us. So we have the cheap, social cheap, that we must complete ourselves. Maybe it's not that clear, but that's what we're doing, and that's what we're telling our children to do. That's not good. Because what happens is, when you find pleasure within yourself and your own mechanisms, and you find yourself complete, and then you relate to the outside, well, you are not needing anything from the outside, you're just sharing what you have. And if you find someone that's also in that same level or a situation, well, that's what's gonna happen. That's the synchronicity that will happen. If we are not complete, we will just go out needing everything from the outside, having expectations that are not actually true with our essence, but instead it's the result of the construction of the idea of an individual made out of little pieces scattered all around. It's not cohesive. It's not true to our soul and to our essence. It's just fragments of humanity all over. And it causes a lot of suffering. And the idea is not to live that. It's to feel rejoice, it's to feel bliss, it's to feel good with oneself, to live our beauty of what we are, no matter what we are, what we have and what we don't. But the beauty of we as a complete form of life, conscious life, with hands to do incredible, beautiful stuff, unimaginable, because we can create things that we don't even know. So Tantra will be the practice that helps us harvest all this energy of life, of creation and destruction, to project it in whatever sense we want. Obviously, we usually hear about Tantra in regard to sexual practices. It's a very nice way to express Tantra and to express our energy. But if it's not well focused, you will totally or lose energy or eat the energy of the other people. And that's not good. The idea when we experience Tantra in our sexual level is that we experience pleasure in more deep, more transcendental way, and we catapult ourselves to that level. And the other one, for example, a very common thing in Tantra is to meditate after the orgasm. And it's very nice if two people share that moment. No, it's perfect, it's beautiful. But it's not the same when people go in life fucking with everyone, feeling the rejoice of the pleasure of that moment, and that person is imagining I don't know what, because he's just probably fucking a lot of ghosts of him, of what we want in life, all his expectations, what he likes, what he doesn't like. But that person there in front of him doesn't mean anything. He's just the excuse for the first person to vomit all his ghosts outside. And that's so sad, because if one really commits to himself or to herself to know what we are as a complete human being and feel the rejoice of being that, and from there we share with the other people, well, the experience will be totally different. Well, Tantra is a very big concept. I will personally put yoga and some of the martial arts in the category of Tantra, because Tantra is so huge. You know, there are several types of yoga, several types of martial arts. Some of them are more pranic, some of them are more combat-like, but Tantra really works them all and uses that energy and harvests that energy with different practices. So, for example, being still and not moving is totally a way of Tantra. Having sexual relations, obviously, is a tantric action. You know, you're repeating your movements, you're moving your sexual energy, you know, your pelvis, your spine. Tantra and the spine they're very deeply related, because the spine is the way of that dragon, is how that energy goes up in life. So that's it. This is the first time we are talking about Tantra. This obviously won't be the last one, because there's a lot we have to discuss about this, and exercises I'm going to share with you also that will probably move your energy to another level, and you will see what you do with that. But the invitation I'm doing to you today is to try to dimension first how your self is constructed. If it's needing things from the outside, what are those things or people or situations, or how this is behaving. Also, after that, this is a little way of planting a seed in all of you to understand that you are perfect as you are, because we are complete and we are perfect. We are just only watching the movie here. We are not the creators of all this. And we are perfect as we are, and the idea is to understand why. And there are several mechanisms in our body that will help us connect to all that dimension, so we can feel the rejoice, the please, the orgasm in all our body, inside, outside, everywhere. And not depending on the outside world, just focusing on ourselves and feeling the love of what we are, feeling it, eating it, all through this unconditional love. I think it's very important for us as humans to really understand that we are perfect as we are, that we have to understand a little bit better what we can do so we can really harvest all this potentiality and transcend in all the ways possible to go further collectively also, not just me meditating alone, have an impact in life and the ones that surround you, so everyone can be happier. And maybe eventually things actually change. But the first thing is that we understand that we are complete and we are not using our completeness, that we are actually not using it and completing ourselves with the outside world of Magi, that I know it's beautiful, it's full of everything in Magi is beautiful, but don't forget it's the same essence, it's Akash. It's the same energy all around. It's the energy of God in everything, the unity. And you can find this double way of everything. Obviously, the expression of diversity that unity can have in different species and plants and in life forms and not life, because also what's not alive is that it's also part of it. It's also here. It's not just about life. It's everything that sustains it also. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you soon.